Good evening, everyone, or good morning, whenever you're listening to this, whatever time it may be. My name is Andrew Ankama. This is a midterm project for Intellectual Heritage 2. And today I will be talking about identity and the effects of culture in terms of identity in Borderlands by Gloria Anzaldúa. I just want to start off by saying that this text was very well written, and it gave insights into a lot of things. The author really covered various aspects of life and gave people a perspective that they may not have seen before in the past. In terms of culture, it's something that a lot of people embrace, but reading this text showed me that there are some aspects to culture that some people might not want to embrace. They can pick and choose, what parts of it they embrace. And you definitely see this here in the text. Um, the author goes on to describe that her culture focuses more on the well-being of the group rather than the individual. And I could relate to this a little bit too, because my culture is kind of like that as well in some regards. Um, if you have a group, if you let's say it's a family unit, you have a family and your responsibility is to let's say take out the trash and do the dishes every day. um you are expected to keep up with your responsibilities. You're doing what you can to support the group. Now let's say you're going through something personal that, like, it's not really like it's not prioritized. If you're going through a mental health episode, it's not prioritized, you know and that is something that I feel like is like she rightfully doesn't embrace that part of the culture, because it's not something that's the best thing. you know Mental health in a lot of cultures is put to the side. So there have also been various points in the text where she mentions that part of her culture outlines very specific expectations for women. Women were expected to perform certain duties. They had to act a certain way. They had to be humble and behave like everyone else. They had to be subservient to men. And this in and of itself, we see a problem. You know, um, just not in the Latin culture, but in a lot of other cultures as well. Women are often looked down upon, and this is obviously something that the author notices, and she's like, no, I'm not just gonna go along with this. This is wrong. Why should I have to be subservient to you because you're a man? And it's something that let's look at a quote um from the text. I wrote this down because it's very powerful. So it says, for women of my culture, there used to be only three directions you could go: to the church as a nun, to the streets as a prostitute, or to the home as a mother. Today, some of us have a fourth choice: entering the world by way of education and career and becoming self-autonomous persons, a very few of us. So here we see that the options for women are limited. If you're a woman, you're expected to, tend to the home, provide for the family, be there for the children, especially from a young age. I know of um, individuals of who are Latina, Um, and they have a lot of responsibilities that other girls of other cultures don't necessarily have, you know, especially at young ages too. So just hearing that quote is very disheartening to me. Um, Seeing that they don't really have that many options to do what they want. Um, and the last line in that quote, a very few of us who do get an education are able to get an education and become self-autonomous, do whatever they want, not bound to these social expectations. So in terms of this, her culture has in a way shaped a part of her identity because she knows that she doesn't want to be this person who is always subservient to man, who just does what everyone says to do just because they think is right, or so she's not looked down upon. So that's one thing I really admire about her. Another quote I found interesting is that women women do not feel safe with her own culture. Women, yeah, and white culture are critical of her when males of all races hunt her as prey. Um, this really it really strung at my heartstrings a little bit because she's expressing that she feels like she's at the bottom of the chain, you know? Like people of your own culture are telling you one thing, and then you have people of outside culture telling you that, oh, you're foreign, you're this and that. And we'll get into that a little later. But we have that, and then white culture, her own culture saying things for her, white culture saying things, saying who she should be and stuff like that. And then males of all races, just because she is a woman, she is almost put down. Like she's at a disadvantage. Just because of the fact that she's a woman. One thing that I really like is that she makes it clear that she does not embrace the parts of her culture that hurt her. You know, she makes it known that yes, she can own her culture. She could be proud of her culture, but if there's an aspect of her culture that she doesn't necessarily like, she's not gonna embrace it, which is one thing that I really liked about her upon reading this text. Now, I want to talk about language because it is also a big part of her identity and a big part of her culture. We saw in the text that, you know, over the course of her life, language has been a struggle for her, you know. Um, I remember reading this passage where at a young age at recess, she was chastised and punished for speaking Spanish. If you want to speak Spanish, go back to Mexico. The saying that I think a lot of people might have heard, either jokingly or they've heard that it happened to someone else. It's wrong. It is wrong. And then on the other side, we would have people of her own culture accusing her of being a traitor for speaking English. So where does that leave? Where does that leave her? You know, you have one side telling you can't speak Spanish, another side telling you can't speak English. Like, come on. Where's the where what are you supposed to do with that? What are you supposed to do with that? So, first of all, I think that the fact that she was punished for speaking Spanish is wrong. You shouldn't punish anyone for speaking a language, no matter what country you live in. Um, I think I have some quotes here. Um, that I think are very important because yes, okay, here we are. But for a language to remain alive, it must be used. By the end of the century, English and not Spanish will be the mother tongue of most Chicanos and Latinos. So if you want to really hurt me, talk badly about my language. Ethnic identity is twin skin to linguistic identity. I am my language. Until I can take pride in my language, I cannot take pride in myself. Yes. This has to be one of my favorite lines in the whole text because here we really see her embracing her identity, embracing her language, despite the fact that many people have tried to tell her that, oh, you're wrong for speaking this language or you're wrong for speaking that language. She's embracing her identity, embracing that language. She's like, all right, you can say what you want, and yes, it will hurt me, but you're not going to stop me from speaking my language. On a broader note, I don't know. I don't want to make this too long. I should have asked for a time how long these should be, Professor. I apologize, but um, the way people in this country look down upon people who speak other languages is disgusting. I remember when this discussion questions was taking. Do you think taking someone's language is more dangerous than war or something like that? And I responded, and I was like, yeah, it is. If you're taking away someone's language, little comments like, "Oh, go back to Mexico if you don't speak English," little comments like that's actively take stripping a people of its language. You're making it seem that a person's not human for speaking another language, and it's wrong. It's wrong. Um, so I feel, and the fact that in the quote that said um what did it say? It said that like Latinos and Chicanos will be speaking more English than Spanish. It honestly hit me. I'm like, wow, like that that shouldn't be. The world is diverse for a reason. People have different languages for a reason. There's a reason why we have different tongues, different cultures, different stuff like that. The United States has no official language. Maybe many people think it's English just because it's the dominant language, but it's not true. The United States has no official language. So hearing people say that you are not American like they look that down upon you for speaking different language. Um, and they even look down upon you for speaking English with an accent. Like, come on, a person who immigrated from another country took time to learn your language and they have an accent and you want to look down upon them. Like, what is that? Like, that's not right. So the bottom line is that, I think that's wrong. And I really enjoy the text and how she embraced her identity in terms of her culture and in terms of her language. And especially the fact that she was able to choose for herself what parts of her culture that she wanted to embrace, like if something was hurting her, like the clear sexism, she's not embracing that. She rejects that and you know becomes her own person. That's a part of her identity. In terms of language, she embraces her language. She doesn't let people sway her, no matter what their comments are from speaking her language. So yes, I hope that's good enough. I really enjoyed this text, and hopefully for the final, I'll be working with this text on another one. Hope to do something similar. But thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Have a great rest of your day.